Okie dokie, how are we doing? Oh, we're nearly there. Good stuff. Well, for those of you that are all ready and correct, present and correct, we're going to start laying down tonight. I'm not going to because you won't be able to hear me. But if you want to settle yourselves in, laying down, make yourselves nice and cozy. And just starting to settle into the space, turning your lights low if you want to. Shona, I love the look of your room. You don't need to talk to me, but it looks really gorgeous. Evening, Emma. Evening, Lissy. Lovely to see you. We're going to need a bolster, a cushion, blanket, anything to make yourselves really snuggly. So do that. Put your lights low if you want to. And we're going to start laying down. So just coming into the space. And starting to just let everything settle a bit. Just making yourself really comfortable. Cover yourself if you need to. Lay however feels nice for you. Obviously Shavasana is great, but if you want to sit with your, if you want to lay down with your knees propped up, that's also absolutely fine. So just coming to a place of stillness where you can just start to connect with your breath and start to release your day. Maybe you've had a really busy and stressful day. Maybe you haven't. Maybe your day's never really got going. However your day has been, just leaving it the other side of your yoga mat now. And just noticing how you feel. So noticing if you're carrying any tension anywhere that it's really not needed tonight. Letting everything be heavy as you release into the mat. Let your shoulders be heavy, the back of your head. Just slightly tucking your chin to bring a bit of length to your cervical spine. Let your palms upturn, which allows your shoulders to externally rotate and just helps soften the shoulder blades into the mat even more. And then just noticing the breath. So just checking how the breath is moving in your body. So as you lay here, hopefully your eyes are softly closed and you're able to just tune into what there is right now. And as some of you are settling in, any of you who've just joined us, can I ask you to mute? Thank you very much. So as you're settling in and letting go of your day today, I have a little question for you as you're settling with your breath. Who have you been today? That might seem a bit of a strange one, but we often are all things to all people. Sometimes we're master chameleons, managing to be everyone and yet no one at the same time. Perhaps you're busy mums, perhaps you're busy working girls, perhaps you're busy mums and working girls. Perhaps you've been busy working from home. I know lots of you are working at home now, more are working at home than at work. So just think about which hat you've been wearing, which persona have you been assuming today? And have you had any time to be you? So hopefully it's you that you have brought to your mat this evening. So as you're laying here, just letting the weight of your body be supported by the mat. And as you're sinking into it, letting your shoulders be heavy, feeling the length of your spine supported by the mat beneath you. Have a little think about, is it you that you've brought to the mat this evening? Can you leave the working girl element behind? Sorry, I shouldn't say working girl, should I? You know what I mean. You girls who are working, you're all working. But leaving your day-to-day work behind. And you brought yourselves to the mat for a little self-care tonight. So big pat on the mat, on the back, well done. Something we need to do. And hopefully now that you're laying here, just being supported by your mat, it's the authentic you. And authenticity is all about the daily practice of letting go who we think we are and embracing who we actually are. So embrace the you that's actually here tonight. You're in competition with no one. You don't need to look a certain way. You don't need to make a certain shape. We don't need to achieve this evening. It's all about letting go. So turning our attention back to our breath now. As we're laying down, I want you to bring your attention to the back body, to the ribs that are touching the mat. So become aware of the gentle movement of the breath and how it moves your body up and down on the mat when you're laying here. Often we think of the breath just moving the body forwards and back, but when we're laying down, we can truly feel that we're breathing back down into the spine. Really letting the belly be soft. By tucking the chin slightly, we've got nice length in the cervical spine. Get a sense that you've truly released into the surface beneath you here. Hopefully your ankles are gently rolled out to each side. Both hips are externally rotated. So just thinking about yourself laying on your mat in your space this evening. See if you can visualize yourself as if you were above, so you can see yourself laying on the mat and the space that you're taking up. And just visualizing the full walls that are around you, the ceiling above you, what else is in the room. And then slowly just bring your attention and awareness back into your body. So where you're laying now, I want you to take your arms up and overhead and take a really long full body stretch here. I'm going to join you on the mat now. So taking your arms up and overhead. Pointing the toes away, stretching the fingertips away. Really create lots of space between the bottom of your ribs and your hips. Have a nice big inhale, let it go with a big sigh. And just feel how your shoulders flatten and soften into the mat. So arms are still overhead. Just notice how it feels in the shoulders when the arms are above. See if you can really let them flatten down, create space between them. And then walking the right heel over to join the left and sliding the left heel right over to the left side of the left corner of the mat. And then taking the right palm over to meet the left palm. And we'll take the hands over to the left side of the mat. And just inclining our head over to the left. So we're in this lovely long banana stretch where we've really opened in the right side of the body and all our limbs and extremities are heading off to the left. And yet our torso is staying where it is in the middle. So just seeing if we can find a sense of release here. Maybe you've tensed your palms or your feet, just really relax, no need to grip Although we're going to hold this position, we don't need to do it with full force and fury of really creating lots of energy. We're trying to just let go here. Just observe the breath for a few rounds. Making sure you're not breathing in gasps and that you can let go nice and slowly. And then slowly rolling your head and neck back to center, bringing your arms back overhead to center and bringing your legs back to center. So both heels are in the center of the mat. And let's point the toes away, stretch the fingertips away. Have a really nice long stretch here. And then flex into the feet, really stretch the calves, bring the arms up and overhead, down by the sides of the body. And then on an inhale, let's take the arms up and over again. And sigh it all out. Really relax here, become passive. Just take a moment, let the shoulders spread. And now let's walk both the heels to the right corner of the mat. And then take both the backs of the hands to the right corner of the mat and gently inclining the head towards the right. So we're doing our banana stretch over to the right hand side now. Again, this can be passive here once we've set ourselves up. The only thing we really want to achieve is lots of length in the left hand side body between the hip and the ribs, and to be able to still breathe with ease. So really just monitoring the breath, letting the exhale go slowly. Seeing if you can release into anywhere where some tension might be creeping in. Just noticing what the tendency is here. And then slowly bringing the head and neck back to center, and the arms back to center, and then the heels back to center. Really reach away with fingertips and toes. Stretch, 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 stretch. And then arms come up and overhead. Really reach the fingers away as they're coming up and overhead. So make this quite active. Slowly bringing them back down by your sides. Now bending the right knee and bringing the sole of the foot up to the mat. Let's bring the left hand to the right knee and just draw that knee over the body. Let's leave the right shoulder where it is. So only come as far as that shoulder will let you. So you haven't got to get the knee down to the floor. Maybe it will come down anyway. But the point is that we're going to leave the right shoulder where it is. So you'll perhaps want to take the right arm out to the side, put it where it's comfy. And maybe lift and turn the head to look towards the right palm. So we're getting this lovely spinal twist and a lovely stretch into the right hip and glute. And again, let the left hand be quite passive on the right knee. Just let it rest there, no real work. We're letting gravity hold that knee over towards the left. Obviously, if this doesn't feel like a great stretch for you, just bring the knee back up to center and have it hovering over the chest. But we want to just try and encourage a little bit of a spinal twist here and get to where we can soften into the posture with our breath. Head and neck come back to center. Let's roll that knee gently back in towards the center. No rush. And then hugging that knee in towards the chest. Let's bring the other one up to join it. So we've got both knees over the chest now. Maybe we're holding our shins. Maybe we're just letting gravity do its bit. But pull the knees in enough towards the chest that you round through your back, and it really presses. You've got more surface area of your back touching the mat. So we've flattened out the natural curve in the back here by just kind of tilting the pelvis a little bit. And take a little bit of a roll from side to side here, just gently massaging that lower back. So by curling the pelvis in towards the body, we've got this lovely doming effect here. And notice if you're tightly gripping your knees, and if you are, let go, no need. Let's try and bring a bit of softness to the practice tonight. Let go of attainment and achievement. We're just being here tonight. So coming to stillness, and this time we're going to gently put the right sole of the foot onto the mat and then slide the leg away long. Then taking the left arm out to the side of the body and taking hold of the left knee with the right hand. Let's slowly and carefully just start to roll that knee over towards the right, keeping the left shoulder down. So just noticing where this one gets to in comparison to the last one. If your knee's really quite high in the air, maybe you want to put your bolster underneath, or your pillows or whatever, anything that allows you to support that knee there with comfort, where you can really just let go and be very passive in this posture. I was going to say this is quite a lazy practice. I don't mean it like that. I want you really to have a sense that you are releasing. But what I mean is there's no, we're not tensing and really striving hard to create a lot of heat here tonight. We're really trying to release and let go. So maybe you've twisted and turned your head towards the left, maybe not. Decide what feels comfortable and nice for tonight. Maybe you just want to lay here in Shavasana for the next 45 minutes. That's fine by me. If that feels like the right thing for you to do after the day you've had, being who you've been today, then go for it. But just noticing how you're feeling now that you've started to slow things down, and now that you've found sanctuary on your mat. Just noticing who you are and how your body is tonight. It's not often we get time to check in with ourselves during busy days, but this is a great time to do it. Slowly, let's bring head and neck back to center. Slowly, let's bring that knee in over the chest. And again, let's bring the other leg in to join it so that both knees are in. And let's bring that little curl to the pelvis so we're flattening out the natural curves in the back. And just wrap your elbows around your knees and take a little wander from side to side here. And then from here, if I'd told you tonight we were going to do crow pose, probably half of you wouldn't have showed up. It seems to be the holy grail for so many yoga practitioners. I can do crow for 3.5 minutes, and I still can't do crow. That's me. I'm still not very good at crow. It's a hit and miss affair, but every now and again I think, I must have a go at crow. But tonight we're all going to do it, but we're going to do the supine version. So just laying with as much of our back flattened into the mat as possible. We're going to bring our feet so that our big toes are kind of almost over our eyes, if you like, perhaps a little bit further back than that. And our knees are bent and over our bodies. So imagining that we are preparing for crow, so we'd be crouching on the mat. And then we would be bringing our elbows to our knees, because in crow, our knees actually sit on our triceps. So bring your triceps to your knees here and really bring a sense of engagement to your core by it's a strange movement. You're curling your pelvis in just to make the abs a little more solid. And then the only thing that's going to be different here, ordinarily we would have our, this is a hand balance, so we would have our hands down. But what we're going to do, we're going to bring our hands together in prayer. And we're actually going to slot those elbows in between our knees. Both legs are parallel, so they're not splaying out. This is not happy baby. So feet are parallel, knees are parallel, thighs are parallel. Hands are together in prayer. We're going to slot those elbows in, and we're going to gently apply a little bit of pressure inside the knees, and we're going to resist. So we've got some pressure going on here, as well as very gently curling the pelvis. So we've activated our core, and we're starting to strengthen the muscles that we would need if we were doing crow. So we're just doing quite a passive version, even though this is quite active here. So just have a little squeeze here for a few more breaths, and then release and just hold it in. I promise this is the hardest work we're doing tonight. I just wanted you to have a little feel of what it was like. Take a little rock and roll. We'll have one more go at that, just to have a tense and release. So feet, knees, thighs are all parallel. Elbows come inside knees, and we're going to push and resist. So push and resist whilst curling the tail in towards the body, just to make sure the core is activated. And release. Well done. And take a little rock and roll. That looked pretty good from what I could see. And that's it. All the work's done. You can lay under a blanket now and just dream the rest of the session away. So take a little rock and roll here. And if you've got your bolster handy, well, never mind if you have, get your bolster, because we're going to need that to hand now. We're just going to do a couple of rounds of bridge pose, but we're going to support ourselves in bridge pose. So after that little burst of activity in the core, we're now going to go completely passive again. So line your bolster or your pillows or your block, whatever you've got to support you, make sure it's underneath your sacrum. So not just under your fleshy buttocks. It's kind of the flat bit at the bottom of your spine you're after. And feet are reasonably close to the bum. Maybe they're actually touching the edge of the bolster, maybe not. And just have a wriggle about here and see how it feels if you can walk your shoulder blades together. So we're really opening through the front body. Palms are upturned and to either side of the bolster. And just see how that feels for a minute. So we've got our backs a little bit arched, if you like, but we're being supported by the bolster. Knees and legs are parallel again. Feet are about hip width apart. Chin is tucked just to make sure we're really long in the spine. And let's just tune in with the breath. In fact, walk the shoulder blades apart again. Let them just spread into the mat here. Lift and spread, lift and spread, lift and spread, and then upturn the palms. And let's just roll the tail in towards the body and see how that feels. Being totally supported by your bolster underneath you. Hopefully it should feel really nice. I'm going to take a few breaths here. So I was chatting to Amanda earlier, who's working from home all the time now, and we were talking about the need for good office chairs or sitting on Swiss balls and what have you. If you do spend a lot of your day seated, this is a really good counter posture, because it's a very I don't want to use the word passive, but it's a non-aggressive way to take your hips into flexion. When you sit at a desk all day, your hips are in flexion, and we need to get them into extension. And this is what we're doing right now, but in a fairly neutral sort of way. So there's nothing too over-exaggerated, but it's a nice gentle release for the hip flexors. So if you know you're tight in the hips, especially if you do a lot of rowing, running, cycling, and desk sitting, I would advocate that you do this daily if you possibly can, even if it's just for 5 minutes before bed. It will just help Give a little stretch to the hip flexors. And all will be well in the world. So from where we are here, grabbing hold, I'm going to make the assumption that you're all on a bolster or a couple of pillows stacked up. Grabbing either end of the bolster, so you're giving yourself a little bit of support. First of all, I want you to bring your right knee in towards the chest, and then let's just straighten the leg up. I want you to see how that feels. So you're still being supported under the sacrum. This might be the point at which you think, I might be able to be a bit more comfortable here. So you might need to re-establish where your sacrum is. And then if you're able, have a quick glance at your monitor, at your screen, and see if your leg is up from your body at a right angle. Often our own proprioception of where our limbs are in spaces, it differs quite a lot from reality. You know, I could think my leg's straight up and actually it's over my head. So just there's no right or wrong actually, it's just where do you think you are, and then check it out. So we're just aiming for our legs to be straight up. And if you feel quite stable and balanced here, or rather, if you don't, stay here or take your leg back down again. If you feel quite stable and balanced, holding the end of your bolster for support, let's bring the other leg in towards the chest and then take that up as well. And if you are balanced and supported, you can let go of your bolster and just upturn your palms. And just tune in with your breath here. This is wonderfully calming, and you've had a busy day. It's really nice just to hang upside down. This is especially nice if you can put your legs up a wall, then you know that they're at the right angle, if you know what I mean. It stops you bringing your legs too far over your head, putting your hips into flexion even more, which is not what you want. So just noticing how your sacrum feels when you're like this, how your shoulders feel. Just tucking the chin slightly so you've got a lovely long cervical spine. Let's just flex into the feet for a minute, see how the calves feel, and then point the toes away. So just bringing a little bit of attention into our legs and feet, noticing how they feel while we're here. This reminds me of being a child. You remember laying outside on a sunny day with a friend with your legs in the air, just looking at clouds going past, or was that just me? There's something quite nice and liberating about having your legs just stuck right up and just laying in this lovely calming position. So from here, just preparing to come out of the posture now. We're going to bring the right knee down first because that one's been up the longest. So bending into the right leg, slowly bringing the sole of the foot down to the mat. Noticing how it feels. Now you've got one leg up and one leg down, how it's changed things in the pelvis. And slowly let's bend into the other leg as we bring it down. Taking a moment here. And gently just windscreen wiper the legs here on the support. We're going to do it again once we've come off the support. And then coming to stillness and very, very carefully just lifting up into bridge pose and sliding your bolster cushion support out of the way. And one vertebrae at a time, let's just lay the spine back down again. And then just take a moment here, hug one knee in and then the other. Take a very tiny rock from side to side. Let's let the spine soften out where we've been holding it supported. We need it to find its own way again here. So just noticing how it feels. And then slowly bringing one foot down to the mat and then the other. Take your feet to either sides of the mat. Feel for the edge with your toes. And then we're just gently going to windscreen wiper the legs one way and then the other. Just ironing out the little, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. It's left me. I'm getting too zoned out now. Sorry. You know what I mean. We're just ironing some stuff out, letting the legs go back and forth. And next time the knees come over towards the left, we're just going to stop for a moment and see how that feels. If that feels okay, lift the left ankle up and pop it on top of the right thigh and just use the left foot to anchor the right thigh down. If it's too much of a stretch for you, go back and just take the ankle off. But this might feel quite nice. It's just a variation to the stretch that we've been doing. And then just gently letting the left ankle come off the right thigh. Let's windscreen wipe the legs over to the other side. And once we're there, thinking, is this enough for me or do I need any more? Or actually, do I need less? Was I more comfy just laying down doing anything? You decide. If you want to pop your right ankle on top of your left thigh, then you can do that and give it a little extra stretch. Find your breath. Find the release here. And then slowly let that foot come down to the mat. And let's just take a moment here to roll over onto your side. It doesn't matter which side. You can choose tonight, any old side you like. And we're slowly and carefully going to bring ourselves up to all fours. So coming into a comfortable all four position, just taking a moment. We've been hanging upside down for a while, so you might need to re-establish yourself. And then just coming to all fours, tabletop position. And just take a little sway for a moment. See how your hips feel. Push away from the mat. Let's start doming through the shoulders, maybe stretching into one arm and the other. So a little bit of freestyling here, just to see how the spine feels now that we are off our backs. And then coming to a point of stillness with our wrists underneath our shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And let's drop the bellies and take the chins up as we really stretch through the front body here. So hips are high. Really tune in with your breath here. Notice how that's feeling, that lovely stretch in the front body. If you've got the hips high enough, you'll feel a lovely stretch in the front body. And then let's slowly bring the curl in the other way. So chin comes in to the chest. Push the mat away, really dome through the shoulders. Feel the space between your shoulder blades here. And then from here, holding this position, let's take the hips back towards the heels as we push the hands away into extended child's pose. So just sliding the hands away in front of you and maybe lowering your forehead to the mat, or maybe lowering your forehead to your block, or maybe just hanging in, whatever feels comfortable for you. If you want to have your knees nice and wide, then do that, whatever feels nice. If child's pose isn't comfy for you, just come back up into all fours and take some small movements here, or just be completely still and enjoy the stillness. But let's just find a place where we can just find some stillness for a few rounds of breath. Becoming aware of the energy flowing around the body. See if you're noticing where you're feeling it. And then from here, raising the head off the mat if you were in extended child's pose. And we're going to creep the left fingertips over towards the right hand and lay the left palm on top of the right hand and put our heads between our elbows and really enjoy this twist and stretch over to the right hand side. So we're getting some opening in the left side of the body again, from the hip to the armpit on the left side. So just finding your breath here. And then slowly bringing the hands through the center. And this time let's take the left hand over to the left side of the mat and walk the right hand to place the palm on top of the left and take our stretch on this side. So setting the forehead down if that's comfortable for you. If you're not in child's pose, if you're in all fours, maybe you just want to take a little stretch by taking opposite hand to opposite corner. You'll still get a stretch in the side body. We're all going to do that in a minute. So, you know, it's just about finding what's working for you here. And slowly hands come back to center, stretching away. Fingertips are nice and flat, almost clawing through the fingers here. And let's start to bring the body forward. Gently, gently, gently. Let's bring our hips into extension here so that we can just stretch out those hip flexors again, noticing whether this is a good position for you or not. Maybe adjusting your arms accordingly. You want your arms to be straight here so that they can support the weight of your body hanging here. If this hurts your lower back or your shoulders or anything, just come out of it. As you know, there are other things we can do to stretch our hips, but if it feels okay being here in hanging cobra, we're just going to move forward and back out of this position. So hips coming towards the heels but not all the way back, and then forwards. And we're going to take a moment in hanging cobra. If you would like to, you can bring your bolster and do a supported version of hanging cobra, which is quite nice. So the bolster goes not on your hips, not on your ribs, but the nice fleshy bit in between, and then you just prop yourself up. The best way to check it out is by bending your elbows into your ribs. So you're laying on your bolster, you've got your hands underneath your shoulders, and then just gently push up, squeezing your shoulders together. And you can hold yourselves here. You've got your hips in extension again. We've got a little bit of a back bend going on, and we're starting to work the arm muscles. So just taking a moment here, and then lowering down, foreheads down to the mat. Relax, noticing what's happening with the shoulders. And when you're ready to go up again on an inhale, just apply a little pressure into the hands. Really wing the shoulders back and just bring yourselves up. So you haven't got to push yourself all the way up here. No need, just be quite passive here. Make sure your shoulders are trying to touch each other and that you're looking down just beyond the ends of your fingertips. And let's come down again. Taking a rest for a moment. Your arms are probably tingling a bit now. And then last time, up we come again. Just noticing how we feel, maybe taking a turn and a twist to look at the left heel, and then back to center, and then the right heel. So just seeing how that feels. And then this time, instead of lowering down into cobra, we're going to push our hips all the way up and back, sending them back towards extended child's pose. And this time we're going to put our elbows exactly where they are on the bolsters. So from where we were in hanging cobra, we're coming back. We put our elbows on the bolsters. We're going to come back into child's pose. Hands come in prayer, and you might need to walk your elbows here. But we're going to put our head Head isn't on the bolster, it's on the mat in front of it. So we're getting a good old stretch into our triceps. You'll know when it feels right because you'll get this lovely pull down the back of your hands. And obviously this is assuming that child's pose is comfortable for you. If it isn't, come into all fours and let's take puppy pose. So we're on our elbows, bottoms are high in the air rather than on our heels, and we can still take the palms behind our head here. So there's a couple of ways we can do this. You can try them both, see what feels best for you. Actually, this is quite nice. And just reconnect with your breath, find softness, find that sense of release, letting go. Anything that you no longer need today, just let it go. So if you're in puppy pose, just really letting yourself sink into it. And the same if you're in extended child's pose, really see where you can find just a few more millimeters of length. Then slowly bringing the hands back down, straightening the arms here, and slowly and carefully easing yourself off your bolster. And just coming to seated. Ooh. It's nearly laying down time, nearly. So getting your bolster, however you're seated, can you swing your knees round so that both knees are facing left? Actually, it's not imperative they go left, but make them go one way and then remember which way you've done. And then bring your bolster so that it's tucked right up close to your left hip or in the same direction that your knees are going. So feet are not inhibited by the knees at all. They're wide enough. You might need to play with this posture. You might even need to sit in a different way completely, depending on how your hips are tonight. But basically what we're trying to achieve from here is to sit upright, turn and face our bolster, and then we're just going to spread ourselves luxuriously and lay ourselves down on this bolster that's down beside our left hip. So we're just taking a lateral bend here and a twist. Just come to rest your face on the bolster here. Really yield to it if you can. Let go. See where you can soften, release. Let your fingertips gently curl. Make sure your toes are also relaxed and released. I doubt we'd snuggle down for a night's sleep like this, but it's okay knowing that you only need to be here for a few rounds of breath. Just noticing the stretch we're getting in the right hand side of the body, or the upper side of the body if you're not going in the same direction as me. If you have defied my orders. And then whichever, I'm assuming you're lying on the same side of the face as the direction you've gone. Just lift and turn your head and see how it feels to pop your head on the other side. Probably not as nice, but I'll give our necks a bit of a stretch here. And then bringing your head back to center, drawing the hands in closer towards the body. Let's gently just raise ourselves up here and notice how we feel. So Just take a moment to sit yourself really upright here, noticing if you are able to sit squarely in both hips here, or whether, you know, you're only really comfortable if you're cranked over to one side. Just noticing. And then let's swap over and see how we go on the other side. This might be a different story. So just swinging the knees out the other way, bringing the bolster to the other hip. You need to move. So just sitting nice and tall, having this bolster. You know where we're going with it now. You might need it nearer your knee than your hip. But really just find your length before you go anywhere else. Sit nice and tall, noticing what's happening with the feet. See if you can release any tension in the feet. Noticing the angle that your limbs are at. It's funny what the body does to set itself up to be comfortable. And once we've lifted and lengthened, let's turn to face the bolster, and then let's just slide down the length of the bolster and find your position of comfort. Just laying down here, really letting go. Tuning in with the breath. Tuning in with your feet and your fingers. And then lifting the head and turning to face the opposite direction. This isn't at all comfy, maybe just propping yourself on your chin or on your hands, or going back to the original position. We're just trying to make sure that we treat both sides of the body equally, noticing where we carry tension one side and not the other. And then very slowly and mindfully, bringing the hands back in towards the body. Let's just lift ourselves up and bring ourselves over into a seated position. We can move the bolster out of the way for now. We will use it again, but not just at the moment. So sitting however you are comfortable, maybe you're cross-legged, maybe you've got your feet out in front of you, maybe you want to sit with your knees up, entirely up to you. We're just going to take a moment to find our seat here. And let's just take both hands behind us with fingertips facing away. And leaning back, so we're at a bit of an angle. So we're again bringing our hips into a bit of extension here. Just see if you can squeeze your shoulder blades tightly together here. So you're bringing your elbows together, or your that's what you're imagining you're doing. We're just really opening the front body here so that the shoulders disappear behind us. We're just kind of leaning back. Imagine that you're just sort of basking in the sun here, just soaking up the sun, pushing away out of the seat. So we're getting lots of space from the pelvic girdle all the way up to the front of the body. We're in a tiny bit of a back bend, and we've opened the hip flexors. Let's just release the neck a little bit so we're looking right up at the ceiling. Just taking a moment here, seeing if we're able to release here. And then slowly bringing the chin back down into the chest. Slowly bringing the hands back round beside the body. And let's lift and lengthen and take the right hand up. Really reach away so that we're stretching tall, lifting yet staying firmly rooted in the right sitting bone here. Left hand is beside the hip, and then let's just take a dip over towards the left. So again, we're rooting down in the right hip, we're dipping into the left elbow, we're getting lots of space between the ribs. Really stretch away strongly with your fingertips. And then let's come up and bring that arm down. Take a moment, see if you can sit nice and tall again, lots of space between crown and tail. And then let's take the left arm up. And weighting down heavy into the left sitting bone, let's crank all the way over to the right. Really noticing the space between the ribs while still weighing down in that left hip. And then back to center again. And arm comes down. This time we're going to take both arms up. We're going to reach, bring your shoulders right up by your ears and then let them slide away, just so you can feel the difference between the two. So your ears are being sandwiched by your elbows here. And then as we bring our right hand down, we're going to swing the left hand behind us. And we're going to come into this nice little twist here. So right hand to left knee, left hand is behind us. Really peel that left shoulder back. And then we're going to look over the left shoulder there. So again, we've got a lot of space being created between hips and ribs. Lots of extension in the spine. Chin is tucked, so the cervical spine is lovely and long, letting go of any tension there. And then as we start to release our head, both hands come back up and over. As we start turning towards the right, right hand comes behind, left hand comes to knee. Let's lift and lengthen, peel the right shoulder back, and let's look round to the right. So noticing if there's any tension or lack of space between the left ear and the left shoulder. See if you can let that drop a little. And then both arms come back up again, all the way up to the top, and then all the way down to the sides. Let's take the hands behind us again, squeeze the shoulder blades together. This time we're going to lift out of our hips and just look back, really stretch away, pushing the hips up. So it's kind of the similar sort of feeling that we get when we're in bridge. We're trying to lift the hips high and then slowly come back down again. Ooh. Bring one foot out in front and then the other so that feet are about hip width apart, knees are in front of us. Hook your elbows around your knees and then just use your forearms to pull yourself forward, nice and tall. So imagine that you're sticking your bum out behind you, your chin is tucked in, we're very long in the spine here, lovely long strong spine. So feet are parallel. And then let's round all the way down. Imagine that you're just collapsing into yourself. So the only thing that's stopping you rolling backwards is your forearms. Really tuck your chin right into the chest here, round out through the back. Let's just take a moment. And let's come back to neutral here. So just sitting in comfort here for a moment. Let's bring the fingertips up to the shoulders and just do a couple of circles through the shoulders here. A few going backwards. And then let's change the direction and do a few coming forwards. Lovely. Really releasing off here. We carry so much tension in our shoulders when we're busy being someone else for someone else. And then just bring the elbows to touch here. Lots of space between the shoulders. Grow tall through the spine. And then let's take them all the way behind, as far back as they will go. And then with your shoulders still back, just take your arms down so they're kind of behind you. Just exaggerate that movement. Try and get the backs of your hands as though you're trying to get them together behind you. and then release. Just come forward. Take a nice little side to side movement here with your neck, just noticing how it feels. Imagine you're one of those Churchill dogs that sit in the car. Do you remember the nodding dogs? I'm sure my grandparents used to have one of those, and the Ford Anglia used to bob away. Happy memories. So just taking a moment here, sitting nice and tall. I didn't say anything about using a strap tonight, so don't worry if you don't have one handy. We can use the clothes that we are wearing. But basically what I want you to do is bring your right hand up and put it between your shoulder blades and grab hold of your t-shirt. And then bring your left hand up behind you and imagine you're trying to grab the right hand. Maybe you can. I'm hypermobile, so I find this quite easy, but it's neither here nor there whether you can do it. It doesn't help. If you've grabbed your t-shirt either side, just pull gently in either direction. So we're pulling up with the right elbow, it comes up beside our ear, and we're pulling down with the left elbow. So we've got two opposing forces going on. Imagine you're trying to create space between the shoulders, so both elbows are coming back. The right one is going up, left one is going down, and then release. Now let's do the other side. So left elbow comes up and over to go between the shoulder blades. So imagine, just visualize your elbow being beside your ear. Grab hold of whatever you're wearing behind you there, and then creep the other hand up towards it to meet it. And then let's make the left elbow go up and the right one go down. So we're just having a little bit of energy wars going on here. Just create a little bit of tension so that we can then let go. Well done. Last one for the arms and shoulders. Bring your arms out to the side here. Just take them back as though you're trying to get them beside you, behind you, and then bring them in front with the right hand being underneath. Bend the right elbow and then sweep the left hand round. We're trying to get either the backs of the hands together or the palms. You don't win anything, whichever one you do is fine. But once we're there, what we do want to do, you'll be aware that you've got lots of space between your shoulder blades now. And we're just going to raise those elbow creases up until we've got a jolly good stretch going on in those elbows. So just looking at the elbow creases, sitting really tall here, feeling the stretch into the shoulders here. Just connect with your breath. Slowly lower the elbows down. Ooh, and untwirl the arms and take any movements that feel natural that your body wants to do to compensate for that. And then let's bring the arms up again. And this time the left arm comes underneath. The left arm bends and then we sweep the right hand round to join it. So we're doing eagle arms here. The idea is that you make a little eagle eye. I don't know if you can see that. You make a little hole that you can look through. Once we're set up here, feel the space between the shoulders, and then let's just reach up with the fingertips to create that lovely tension between the shoulder blades. Really connect with your breath here. Let the breath ease the stretch that's going on between your shoulders. Make sure you are actually breathing. This is a great breath holding exercise. And then slowly, slowly, slowly lower those elbows down. And you know what you need to do to make that feel nice now. So just do it. Excuse me, I'm just going to have a sip of water. Right, the very last thing before we lay down and before we have blanket time, I'm going to teach you a new pranayama technique. Pranayama, prana means breath and yama means control. So it's a breathing exercise, but it has a very specific purpose. Often we direct our breath in a certain way to either harness energy, create energy, let unwanted energy go, or what have you. This one is specifically for sleep. It's to calm the parasympathetic nervous system to just give the signals that everything is starting to be suppressed and lowered. So most of you, I think, have done this with me before. It's a form of Nadi Shodhana where we breathe through alternate nostrils, but with a very specific difference. So I'm going to talk you through it. We're going to hold a particular mudra, which is a lock or a seal or it's a gesture rather, with our left hand. So imagine that your two peace fingers are free. And we're going to just touch the tips of the little finger and the ring finger with our thumb. And then we're just going to rest it on our knee, upturned like that. So by forming that little gesture there, this is all part of the soothing, calming ritual, if you like, before sleep. On the other hand, we're going to tuck the index finger and the middle finger in towards the palm. And we're going to be using the right thumb and the right ring finger. So starting, you might find this easier with your eyes closed. You won't learn much by watching me, but listen very carefully. So bring the finger and thumb up towards your face and let's everybody exhale. Right, block the right nostril with your thumb and inhale through your left nostril. Block left, exhale right. Block right, inhale left. 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 Block left, exhale right. Last one, block right, inhale left. Block left, exhale right. Release the right hand and just let your breath find its normal rhythm. So eyes are gently closed. Notice how calm your breath has become. Notice the feeling of the breath between the two nostrils. And release the mudra. And very carefully and mindfully grabbing anything that you need on your way down. Make your way into Shavasana with your bolster, your blanket, whatever you would like. You can lay with your bolster underneath your knees, underneath your head, underneath your back. You don't need to use it at all if you don't want to. Just make yourselves really comfortable now. So try not to make too big a movement. We've calmed our breath right down. While you're getting into position, I'll explain a little bit about that. That's called Chandra Badana. And what we're trying to do is stimulate the left nostril. At any one time, one of our nostrils is more dominant than the other. Now, the left is for feminine energy. It's associated with the moon and it is associated with the rest and digest mode. So we want the left nostril to be dominant as we prepare ourselves for rest. So by only inhaling through the left, we're giving the body the signals that we are truly settling down to rest. So finding yourselves now in Shavasana, having a wriggle and a fidget, taking whatever movements you need to make yourselves as comfortable as you can possibly be. Where you can lie here and let your body assimilate the practice of yoga that we have enjoyed tonight. Noticing how the breath has slowed right down. Perhaps comparing, if you can remember how you felt at the beginning of the practice to how you feel now. Hopefully you're starting to feel calm and as if your body is helping to prepare your mind for no more work. So as we lay here, settling our bodies and mind after the practice, perhaps revisiting the thought I sowed in your head at the start. Who have you been today? I hope that you have found you on the mat tonight. I hope it's been you that's been present, that you've switched off being the person that you've been required to be all day. So just coming into the business of being you now, noticing the flow of your energy. And where you're aware of the energy flowing, maybe you can feel the buzz of energy traveling around your body. Perhaps you can feel tingling in your fingers and toes. Perhaps you're just aware of feeling a little bit woolly at the moment, which is what I really hope that you're starting to feel, that you're feeling relaxed and chilled out and a bit heavy of limb and mind. So let's take a little journey through the body now, starting with our right thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, back of the hand, palm of the hand, wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, armpit, top of the arm, shoulder, collarbone, right ribs, the right side of the belly, the right hip, right thigh, knee, shin, ankle, top of the foot, big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, little toe, sole of the foot, heel, calf, back of the knee, back of the thigh, right buttock, right side of the pelvis and sacrum, back of the right side of the rib cage, the right shoulder blade, the left thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, back of the hand, palm of the hand, wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, top of the arm, armpit, shoulder, collarbone, the left-hand side of the ribs, belly, the left hip, thigh, knee, shin, ankle, top of the foot, big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, little toe, sole of the foot, heel, calf, back of the knee, back of the thigh, the left buttock, the left side of the pelvis and sacrum, the left side of the rib cage, the shoulder blade, coming all the way back and across into the center, to the spine, all the way down to the coccyx, the tailbone, all the way up the spinal column, into the back of the skull, up onto the crown, forehead, the brow, the eyelids, the eyeballs, the ears, the cheeks, the nose and the nostrils, the upper lip, the upper jaw, the lower lip, the lower jaw, the chin and the throat, coming down the sternum between the rib cage to the heart space in the center. Just resting your awareness in the heart space here. And just bringing your awareness to the heart, and perhaps something today for which you're very grateful. So bringing some heartfelt gratitude to your day and your practice. Thinking of one thing, perhaps something that somebody did for you. Or perhaps just bringing to mind somebody who needs a little extra special, has given a little extra special attention today. And just holding that in your heart right now. Starting to deepen the breath a little. And bringing a little bit of movement to your fingers and toes, having a little wiggle, perhaps circling in the ankles or the wrists, perhaps taking a stretch, maybe bringing one knee in and then the other and taking a little rock and roll. Taking whatever movement feels nice for you right now. And then slowly rolling over onto your right side. And let's just let the blood pressure equalize for a breath or two. Before slowly making your way up to seated. Keeping your eyes softly closed here at the moment. And when we're all in a seated position, let's just bring our hands together in prayer and rub our hands together. Sorry, I forgot to mention about bringing oil tonight. Next week, if you come to practice, perhaps have some lovely smelling oil, but let's just generate some heat between our hands now. And once the palms are nice and warm, let's just cup them in front of our face so that our eyelids can feel the warmth from our palms. And slowly bringing the palms together and letting them rest at your heart center. Let's just bow our heads for a moment here, enjoying that final stretch in the back of our necks. And taking a moment just to acknowledge the time that we set aside for our self-care, for us to be ourselves tonight, and to be truly grateful for how amazing our bodies are. Namaste. Is anyone asleep? Are we all right?
Thank you, Gabby.
You're very welcome. See you soon. I hope you all have a lovely night's sleep. Are you all snoozy? I nearly put myself to sleep then.
That was fab, Gabby. Thank you.
Good. You're very welcome. Go to bed now. Don't look at phones.
Fell asleep there, Gabby.
Oh, good. Good. Lovely to see you all again, especially you, Amanda, because I haven't seen you for so long. But it's always lovely to see all of you. All right.
Thank
Take
you.
care, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.